Touchdown, buzzer beater, do it all now. All now, top corner talking home run. Touchdown, buzzer beater, do it all now. All now, top corner like ooh.
All right. Hello, everybody. It is Monday, April 14th, 2025, and this is the Monday Report. I'm your host, H. James K., and today we're going to do something a little different. Originally, I had promised that we were going to be talking about a recap of the United Football League season so far, but events have happened over the weekend that have changed my mind, and we have something more important to talk about this weekend. So, as we begin, I just want to say, forgive me if my voice is a little weird. I'm sick. The pestilence grips me, just like it did last week. I want to apologize because last week's episode was so bad. I'm sorry, but I'm going to strive to be better in the future. All right, so this week we're talking about Karen Lacy and the epidemic of reckless driving, driving under the influence, driving while intoxicated, fleeing police, and every other traffic-related crime committed by football players in today's modern football landscape. So, for background information, Kyren Lacy was a wide receiver who played for the LSU Tigers last year. He had 50-something catches, 800-and-something yards, and going into this spring, he had left college early to go into the draft. He was projected to be the 6th or 7th best receiver in the 2025 draft class. He was going to be somebody. He was going to be somebody. And then in December, he drove recklessly. Crossed into the other lane of traffic, hit somebody, caused a massive crash, and killed an elderly driver. And he was immediately arrested for reckless driving and negligent homicide and a whole slew of other crimes. And then that pretty much precluded him from getting invited to the Combine in March, which was bad. And then over the weekend, this last weekend, he was found dead in his apartment in Houston at the age of 24. It hasn't been said his cause of death, but if I had to hazard a guess, he probably committed suicide considering they were getting ready to convene a grand jury for his trial. But he committed suicide. And this ties back into so many things in college football. We've seen so many players over the last several years, decades, committing crimes. Like, since January of 2023, 26 separate players on the Georgia Bulldogs football team have been arrested or cited for driving offenses of multiple kinds. Crashing into apartment buildings, street racing, negligent homicide, driving under the influence, speeding, evading police, fleeing the scene of a crime. And these are just driving offenses, 26 players. But nothing changes. The University of Georgia doesn't make any cultural changes. The NCAA doesn't give them a lack of institutional control violation. Nothing changes. The world just keeps on turning. In the NFL, Ben Cleveland, Demarcus Robinson, Jordan Addison, Janarius Robinson, Roderick Teamer, Travis Johnson, Henry Ruggs, he killed a person in that one, were all arrested for DWI. Chris Olave, J.C. Jackson, Sam Williams, Byron Pringle, Brandon Eccles, Jordan Addison, again, were all cited for reckless driving. Marquise Hollywood Brown, in air quotes, was cited for speeding. None of these things came to anything. Henry Ruggs was arrested, and he has been cut. But largely, these players commit driving offenses, and they just get a slap on the wrist, a small $680 fine or whatever, and they just get sent on their merry way. And I'm just focusing on the driving offenses. I'm not talking about drugs, guns, domestic violence, murder, rape, sexual violence of any kind. No, I'm talking just about driving offenses. What are we doing? What has happened to athletes in this country? I know crime has always been a thing among athletes. They're testosterone-filled young dudes with tons of money who can think they can get away with everything, but what has happened to this generation of athletes where they just do whatever they want and nobody cares? What has happened to fathers raising their sons right, or head coaches crafting good quality men in their college programs, or in the NFL striving to hold players to a higher standard? When did it become okay to just shrug and turn the other cheek? It bothers me because it has never been easier to not commit driving offenses of any kind. Forget getting a taxi like it's 1960. We have Uber and Lyft. We have ride sharing now. You could call a friend saying, "Hey, bruh, I need you to come pick me up. I'm a little fucked up right now." No one does that. Nope. Now I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to drive 148 miles an hour in St. Paul, Minnesota, Jordan Addison. Or I'm going to get fucked up and I'm going to drive in oncoming traffic and crash into an apartment building. Nitro Tuggle. Yeah, all of these things happen. Or I just won a national championship, so I'm going to go street racing with my friends and kill somebody. Yeah, that happened literally the night of the national championship game in 2023. Georgia football players did that. One of those guys plays D-tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Never got in trouble. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. When did we become okay with this? What happened to head coaches holding players accountable, saying if you don't keep your nose clean, you don't play? If you don't get good grades, you don't play? Whatever happened to focusing on the team, doing what's best for your guys? Whatever happened to keeping your brothers and sisters accountable? None of that happens anymore. Nowadays, it's just, whatever. Let them get fucked up. They're making NIL money. They're grown adults. That's not good enough. We have to be teaching young people personal responsibility. We need to be teaching these athletes that they're gifted. They have a gift from God. They have something that 99.999% of all other people can't do. I mean, I'm a fat white dude from Detroit. I can't run a 40-yard dash. I can't sit on my knees and throw a ball 80 yards like Joe Milton. I can't catch a ball like Calvin Johnson. These people are special, and we need to be instilling in them that they have everything to lose by being stupid for 5 seconds. That's it. 5 seconds and it's gone. In the wind. That's it. We need to be taking them to the side saying, "Hey, bro, I know you think you're invincible. I know you think you're better than this, but nah, man. Let me get you a ride share. Let me get you a taxi. Let me drive you home myself. I got my keys." We need to be doing more of this, and we need the public and the media to excuse me. We need the media to hold these players to a higher standard. And I know there's a hypocrisy in that because some hold these athletes like Patrick Mahomes to an impossible standard. But the basic level of human decency should be required to play football. You should have to be a model citizen. You should have to be a good person. You shouldn't just get a slap on the wrist for punching your girlfriend in the face, or strangling your baby mama, or putting a gun in her mouth and say, "I'm going to fucking kill you if you don't have sex with me." That shouldn't be okay. It shouldn't be okay to just drive recklessly at 140 miles an hour, and yet no one seems to care. And now, Kyren Lacy is dead, and that's so tragic. This is a man who was going to be gifted. He was going to be a millionaire. Fame and fortune. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown was the 5th or 6th wide receiver drafted in his draft class, and now he's making $20+ million a year with the Detroit Lions. Kyren Lacy could have been somebody. He could have been a contender, to paraphrase On the Waterfront. But now he's dead because he made a stupid decision. Because no one taught him better. No one molded him into a better person. It's very frustrating, man. It shouldn't be this way. Especially in 2025. It just shouldn't be this way. And I don't know. It won't ever change because as long as the money factory keeps on churning, nobody cares. We treat these guys like gladiators, so as long as they're continuing to hit each other and throw the football, nobody cares. But I don't know. Part of me thinks that we should care about these people as if they're human beings and mold them and teach them like they're human beings and teach them to be better versions of themselves. Bo Schembechler used to say, the team, the team, the team. He used to preach on and on about how focus on what your actions do to your team. How will this affect my team if I go to the mall instead of doing my homework? Or I sleep in a little late? Or I drink that beer when I know I shouldn't? Or I smoke that blunt even though I got a game tomorrow? Brady Hoke used to do that. Brady Hoke was a mediocre football coach, but he was a great leader of men. His players like Jake Butt and Shane Morris and Devin Gardner and so many other guys, Jake Ryan, were all great people. They came out of his program with a certain standard. And we need more coaches like that. Jim Harbaugh did that. His standing policy was if you get someone pregnant and you don't have the means to raise that person, go to him. He'll help you out. He'll take care of it. He was there for his boys. And that care and concern and that leadership turned boys into good young men who wanted to achieve the right way, who didn't do stupid things like drive drunk or crash a car. And of course, people make stupid mistakes sometimes, like Mozzie Smith. But he helped them learn from those mistakes. He didn't just turn the other cheek and move on with his life like nothing happened, like Kirby Smart does at Georgia every week. These things are possible. These life lessons we can be teaching these guys are possible. We just have to give a shit. We just have to actually care about doing it. But nobody does. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. So, for all of you listening on YouTube, thank you. I know it's hard to find my channel, so please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, do all the things to spread the channel, make it grow and feed the algorithm. For those of you listening on Audacity or whatever it's called, or every other podcasting aggregator like Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those, thank you. I appreciate it. If you can leave a like. So next week we got an NFL draft preview and predictions where I will talk about players I think are going to go early, things I think are going to happen. I'm going to lay out a picks for the top 10 draft. Maybe I'll even have some trades in there. I'm going to make my predictions for some of the Lions players. I'll make some predictions on if I think all these different, Michigan Wolverine football players are going to get drafted. It's going to be a fun time, but that's for next week. All right, my name is H. James K. Thank y'all for tuning in. Until next time.